The Lloydminster Public School Division announced this week that they have positive cases in 2 schools. Jasmine King spoke with Todd Robertson, Director of Education for LPSD, for more.
I'm joined here with Todd Robertson, and he's the Director of Education for the Lloydminster Public School Division. Now, it was announced that the school division did have a few positive cases of COVID-19. So can you just explain this situation?
Yeah, so I mean, the last week and a half in Lloyd Public Schools has been challenging related to COVID. We've had, a few cases at ES Laird, and now a case at LCHS and a case at Winston Churchill Elementary School. Um, all of these cases are related to, folks, students and staff that may have been not feeling well, sometimes with very mild symptoms that came to school that just unfortunately ended up being COVID. And, once you find out about a test, you have to trace back a few days and then you start contact tracing, and it has an impact on your school operations. So,
ES Laird School will be seeing classes being canceled, so I'll get to you just to talk about that.
yes. So, when public health does their contact tracing around a COVID case, they give you some direction around, which students have to not be at school. In some cases, that's determined to be a whole classroom. In other cases, depending on the circumstances, it might only be a few students. With ES Laird specifically, the reason we have moved towards closing the school for the next 4 days is related to the number of contacts that were involved in the contact tracing, and just the complexity of being able to get a hold of everybody and ensure that there was no further spread with the virus. And the fact that we have a holiday next week allows us to leverage 14 days and ensure that the virus is not being spread throughout our school population. So it's a bit strategic given the fact that we have a holiday next week. We don't take these decisions lightly, but it was felt by health and by the education community that this was the best decision for the safety and security of our students and our staff at ES Laird.
And what will be the plans going forward with LPSD regarding precautions, or will anything be changing?
Yeah, you know what, Jasmine, I think that's the thing about this. There's absolutely nothing that I would change based on what schools have in place with regards to COVID procedures and protocols. The feedback we've had from health is that everything we're doing are the right things. So there's nothing that's going to change in that regard. What needs to change is people's diligence around monitoring their own symptoms before they come to school. So we, I think, historically have all been wired to say, hey, if you have a runny nose or you're not feeling the greatest, it's okay to go to school. It's not okay to go to school anymore, given the context of our community. And I think that Lloydminster has seen an uptick in the prevalence of COVID, and that is having an impact on our schools. And so we all need to work together about ensuring that we stay home when we're not feeling well. And that goes for our staff as well as our students.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Todd.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for the opportunity.